Good morning. I hope everybody's doing good. Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Hey, William. Yeah, early this morning. But my early this morning is rather late. This should have been done. It should have never happened in the first place. This should have never um, come to this. But, you know, this here should have been a conversation, but instead it's going to be a monologue. Yeah, boy. Yeah, man, I share my photo. You could come fit. I just giving people time. You can share the live and tag whoever you feel needs to be tagged so that they come on this live, so that they hear it from the horse's mouth. So if there's anybody being quoted, it will be the horses and not opinion. I honestly believe that this live is going to open the public's eyes concerning far more than what I think I come here to talk about, but I will speak on it. Yeah, now is what time? I was 8:32, giving it to 8:34. Tag them, bring them on the live. Yeah. Some of you guys supposed to be at work. How I seen you on this live? Where you are there? In the people bathroom? Lared. I guess you could decide whether you could talk stupidness or not. All right. So I'm gonna give you the facts according to Sammy, and then I'm gonna give you my opinions, my takes. I'm gonna give you my spins and every single thing. There has been a lot of talk concerning this 9 million. Some people are now learning of it, but I know that a lot of people know of it because it's going viral right now. 9 million that apparently the president gave to 3 pastors' sons, or, these Christian boys that deceived the people, stole the money. So, this is what happened. I'll give you a little backstory as to how I ended up in this meeting. The first time I even got involved with the government was with the One Guyana concert that they held in the height of the pandemic. I think it was in September or October of 2020. That's the first time I was called and said, we're having a virtual concert. We want you to be a part of it, Sammy. I went, I sang Change the Story with Tamika Marshall and Saiku. That was it. Then I won Soca Monarch in 2021 and got to perform at the Mash Night concert. And after that, whenever the government had One Guyana concerts and different things, they'd call me to be involved in it. I ended up writing music for Dubai, ended up going um, to Dubai to represent Guyana on behalf of the government. And then, more or less, I became a part of the creative crew, sometimes on the outskirts, sometimes inside. So, when we had independence last month, May, um, I was called in among a couple others to write a song. That's the song that we wrote, We Can Do This Together. And to perform it also at the independence celebration in Essequibo. We went to Essequibo, we executed. Um, I'm not sure how it looked on social media because I haven't watched the social media. I don't know what the audio sounded like on social media. But at the event, we really executed this thing. The entire cultural presentation, half an hour presentation, it was well received by those in Essequibo and even by the president, who jumped in the rain to be a part of us and parts of his cabinet when the rain came down. It's a really nice time. The president was really impressed that we were able to pull this together, especially since we had to travel out of town twice. So, stemming from that, he decided that he wanted to meet with the people who were a part of the Independence Celebration Program. So, a couple of days after we came back from Essequibo, he called a meeting. The meeting was at his residence under the Benab. So that's how I ended up in the meeting. I'm telling you all of this so that you understand what form of meeting it was. And you get to decide against what is being peddled and what I am saying. I walked into the meeting. This place had probably 80 people seated. The president was at the front. To his left, also there's a video. There's an entire video. They put it up on the Department of Information page from beginning to end. So you could cross-check. To his left was the Minister, Honorable Minister of Tourism. To his right was the Honorable Minister of Culture, Youth and Sport, and the Director of National Events there. I was seated at the back. I was seated at the second to last row, at the far right of the president. So we ended up in this meeting. This meeting comprised of the dancers, the choreographers, the dance teachers, the singers, people from Essequibo that were invited because the independence program comprised of people from Berbice, Essequibo, all over. It was a collaborative effort. Everybody was invited back. Everybody. The children and their parents were there. This was the kind of meeting that the president called. It wasn't closed doors. Of course, like I said, there is the entire meeting. If you scroll down, way down on DPI's page, you will find it. So when I arrived, the Minister of Tourism was speaking, and shortly after she introduced His Excellency, who took the mic, walked down from the podium and sat at the front and said, I want to have a conversation with you guys. I'm going to speak and then I'm going to listen to your heart. And he spoke about how proud he was of what we do, what we did. He spoke about what we can do and what we should do as young artists, what are his desires concerning the arts in Guyana. And after he spoke, he opened the floor to anybody who wanted to speak. So people stood up and spoke on various different things. Some people took the opportunity to promote songs that they had written about Guyana. People talked about the review of the Independence show and what could be better, what's needed. And coming down to the end, they brought the mic to myself. They brought the mic to Calvin Burnett. Now I'm going to tell you specifically so you could connect the dots yourself. They brought the mic. I spoke about, first of all, let me back up. I want to give props to the president. And again, before the live done, you're going to understand why I'm saying all of this. I give props to the president for recognizing that Guyana has a music industry. As fragmented as it is, he recognized that there's a music industry and wanted it to be better. And he chose to engage us like this. I spoke about the business of music and I said, listen, there are artists in Guyana who are very, very talented, but at the same time very frustrated because they're making no money from their craft. And that's because they don't have knowledge of the business of music and they don't understand and they're not exposed to the information that will help them understand that music is more than just singing and playing and making music, but it's understanding the business of it if you're going to put yourself on the market and get past the shores of Guyana, and if you're going to understand how much money there is to be had with music. Calvin spoke after me and he asked the president, he said, we really need to address radio airplay. Because he met some students the other day, they didn't know a Calvin song, they didn't know a Samuel song, but he asked them a cartel, they could tell him a cartel song. Funny moment, but it was very real. The president did not speak at all when people were talking. He was just writing. Joel Brown. And I call him my name, Calvin and Joel, because we're targets right now. Joel Brown shared some ideas about what could be better, what we need. One of the things he said is that as producers, they would love to work with some of the artists, but the artists don't have money to record their music, and asked in that moment if the president and by extension his government would be so kind to do something to maybe help subsidize the cost of recording. That's it. That's it. I think I took the mic again and I spoke about the lack of us having different cultural centers around Guyana. Not just the one culture center, but cultural centers where youths could gather, like in communities on the West Coast, East Coast, where there's musical instruments, where there's enough space for drama and dance and stuff like that. Mind you, I am here with 80-something people. I'm not the only person who spoke. I was one of the last persons that spoke. That's what it was. Now, the president took the mic after we were done and started to address every single person and every single concern that was voiced by us under there. There were people who talked about dance, people talked about they wanted place to dance because some of the people that were involved in the independence celebration said they had to rehearse under somebody's bottom house. I guess this is out of town. In front of somebody's yard and stuff. He addressed every single thing. Then he got to the music, and it is all there, and he started addressing. Here's the thing. Not one of us... Oh, okay. I'll read the comments just now. None of us, and I assure you this, none of us walked into that meeting knowing what to expect. All we knew was that the president wanted to meet with us. Told us the time, it was told to us the venue, and we showed up. Nobody knew what the meeting was. We didn't even know we could speak in the meeting, right? So the president now is on music. And he asked a question, and I've had this conversation off of camera in private with some people who spoke to me and I spoke to. I think there were people there from the steel pan community. I can't remember Omaya Hall. So he asked a question that none of us could have answered in the moment, but the way it was answered, and let me take time out to explain this. You were not in the room when it happened, so you can look at something and not understand the context. Let me give the context. There was one camera. The camera was at the immediate back, focused on the president at the front. And there was one mic. So unless that mic was close to everybody who was speaking in the room at the time, you will not hear what anybody say. When the president was speaking and the minister of culture next to him was speaking, you could probably hear him speaking while the president had the mic, but nobody else. You couldn't hear in the room what was going on. So the president asked some questions like first he asked what's the cost for a song. One of the very young artists stood up and said $80,000, which was laughable. That's 400 US. Now, we who record on a professional level know that $80,000 can't give you no good song, right? So Calvin is at the back. Calvin said, what? No, that maybe is for a jingle. I said, not even for a jingle. But of course, there's one mic, and the mic is all the way at the front because the president has it, right? So you can't hear all of this in the video. Joel is trying to smooth it off and said, no, there's no way you could record a song for $80,000, maybe 100. I'm at the back. I'm saying, no way, not even 100. That's just $20,000 more. And for those of you who are tuning in and don't know, I'll call the prices in US too. 400 and 500 US, right? So you see, and people agreeing with my story because that's what happened in the room. So people are talking now because the president is opening engagements. People are talking all over the room. We're grumbling, actually talking. That's when the president look over and says, Samuel, how much for you? But he's under the impression that there are tiers to this thing. And I guess in my mind, there's not, but in the real world, I guess there is. There's amateur recording, there's professional recording. So he said, on a professional level, though, Sammy, how much will it cost to record a song? I say at least $200,000, right? So he says, okay, so that's at your level. I'm like, oh gosh. Okay, yes, my level. Mind you, then he asked, how many songs are produced a year or something to that effect? And if you look at the video, immediately you will hear the Minister of Culture say next to him, they wouldn't know that. It's all in the video. So I'm giving context to what you're seeing and what you probably miss, but it's on the video because I'm saying he's close with proximity to the mic so you could actually hear it, right? So he said they wouldn't know that. He's asking like on a yearly basis, how many songs are produced? Ting, 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 ting. And then he looks across and he asks me, Sammy, what's your take? I was like, oh gosh, oh gosh, oh gosh. I'm trying to calculate how many artists, how many songs are brought out. And there are a lot of things running through my head, right? Because there are people who record songs and don't publish it. There are people who record songs and it never reaches the radio. So you never know about it. So I'm thinking, how am I going to tell this? So he's like, about 50 or 40, something like that, he said, or 45, right? So I say, yeah, cool. Now, I'll take time to address this. If we were wrong, I just give in context, if we were wrong to say that, then I accept the wrong that I said, yeah, man, because it was a consensus, by the way, because we didn't know where he was going with this, right? Nobody knew. We didn't go into the meeting to discuss music. We went in because the president invited us. We didn't know what it was about. We weren't briefed. So if I was wrong, if Joel was wrong, if Calvin was wrong to say, yeah, man, then we accept that we are wrong. But the fact is, if the president asks anybody, including the bigger heads, how many songs are produced a year? Just off the bat, nobody could answer like that, right? So, meanwhile, while he is talking, he has the Minister of Tourism doing calculations. So he said, that is $9 million. And then he asked, how many studios are there? Again, I doing this live. Y'all don't even know how many times he said we can do this live, and then we're like, nah, just let it blow over. We can do this live, nah, let's blow over. But at the advice of some very wise people, they're like, listen, don't let the narrative come from one place. You go and do it. You don't have to be messy. You don't have to shoot back and go in the dirt like certain people are going in the dirt. Just tell the facts. So I said, okay, cool. That's $9 million. He asked how many studios are there. Again, if you look at the video, immediately you see the Minister of Culture do this. 2, right? He probably has his reasons why he said 2. I would probably assume that the reason why he said 2 studios, where he was trying to tell the president, right now we use 2 studios to do the recordings for the songs and the projects from Ministry of Culture. That's probably why he said that, which was the Ministry of Culture has a studio that is run by Jeremy Sobers, and they also use Joey Too Cool Studio, who works with the children and the This Is Freedom song. He came in on the project, right? Me at the far right put up my hand like this, but of course there's one camera. Again, we don't know where this is going. I put up my hand like this because I am counting in my head the amount of studios that I know. So I put up my hand like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The president looks over and says, Samuel, you have a studio? Now, I don't have a studio. That's the fact. But I am very much a part of Paradigm. So if he asks if I have a studio, I will represent the studio to which I do every single one of my recordings. I don't record outside of Guyana. I record out of Paradigm Studio up on the East Coast. So by the time I say, yes, I have a studio, he assumes that 3 studios alone. He doesn't see me doing this. I'm trying to say there are multiple studios. Again, we don't know where this is going, right? We are young dudes. And I will never dispute the fact that we are young guys, right? So somebody said the fact that someone says they're 3. Well, no, nobody said that they were 3, right? And the video is always there. So he said, okay, so that's 9 million. So let's come to a consortium. I still got to go and find out what that word means. So we're going to work, by the way, again. And I ain't even reached what I want to reach yet in the story. He said, let's come to a consortium and work something out. So over the next 12 months, we can help to record those that don't have money to record. So first things first, this money that the president allocated is not even for us. It's not even for the big ones that are professional musicians and professional singers. It's for those that really want to record and don't have the ways and means of recording it. Now, some people started clapping. We didn't clap. And I'll tell you why we didn't clap. And it's not because we were not impressed with what the president did. That is a remarkable thing. Because there is no private citizen in the past or present that ever said, here, let me give $9 million just for the sake of recording. Anybody who wants to record and doesn't have the money. And so the president, shut up. Why is I ain't that young? Yeah, well, in comparison, comparatively, we are young to the older heads, right? Let me show you all the calculation. So, $9 million divided by 3, right? I just addressed how it came about to the 3 studios. That means each studio this is just broadly speaking. The 9 million divided by 3 is each studio gets $3 million. A song at $200,000 gives you 45 songs divided by 3. That means each studio has to produce over the next 12 months 15 songs. This is why we didn't get excited. You have to produce, first of all, there's a stiff timeline of 12 months to produce 15 songs. One, the people that we have to record are not professional people. So the work that we have to put in is a whole lot of work. That means some of the singers might be good, but they're not great in studio, so they have to be coached. Some of the singers can really sing, but their writing is weak or they can't write at all, so we have to go and employ writers. Some of the music that they will want to do will require live music, so we'll have to bring in musicians. There's a bass player, there's a keyboard player, there's a guitar player, there's probably conga player, percussion player, saxophone player. Some of the singers will require background vocalists, so we have to go and we have to hire, outsource background vocalists. And when all that is done, there is still the process of mixing and the process of mastering. When all that is done, a song that we think or that the public thinks $200,000 we making a bag off it, ain't nobody making a bag off of that. We just doing it for the love of it. So we were like, all right, cool, that's good. The president really allocated funds for this, but it wasn't like we were greedy. We understood the work and the magnitude of what that would be. Understand? So it's not a lot of money. So I said, all right, cool. But this thing blew up into something that we didn't want it to and could have never envisioned that it would blow up into. I hope y'all understand the maths of what. And people who are in music, and even the people who are saying things very well and understand. Hold on. I can get to the copyright laws in a bit. The people who do music very well and understand that calculation, that 9 million wasn't a lot of money, right? Exactly. Somebody say a bag? No, more like crumbs. Because it's really crumbs, right? So the whole issue that's being peddled is surrounding the 3 studios and the $9 million. And I told y'all how it come about. Nobody was greedy. That's a lot of work. Further to that, the president said that this is not a political thing. And trust me, I was waiting and hoping that he would say that this is not a political thing. And he was saying, make sure that those are not here. The others, make sure that they're involved. Okay? So that 9 million that y'all think is a lot divided by 3 studios that got to give you at least 45 songs over the course of 12 months. And we have to bring in singers. You have to bring in coaches. You have to bring in producers, because a producer is the person who's responsible for the integrity of a project, who tell a person, no, go and sing this back. Do this back. Go home, take a rest because your voice tired today, and start cracking. Come back tomorrow. It's a lot of work, right? Good. No, man, the president think he eat crumbs. Like I'm saying, don't misinterpret me, Lauren. We are grateful for it, right? And this is being peddled. And y'all don't even know. Y'all don't have a clue. And people are saying a lot of things. But there's a lot more that was addressed at that meeting that I want to talk about. And this is the reason why you don't fight over crumbs. Because if you are fighting over crumbs, it means that there's bread somewhere to be had. So why are you fighting over crumbs? Furthermore to that, you don't fight over bread when you could go and own the bakery. Exactly, and William said you're not even talking studio time, right? Producer cost is $1,500 US. So understand the $9 million joke to the magnitude of what we have to produce over the next 12 months. Before I even go to the other stuff, just so you know, because people don't understand, even I did not understand, and y'all don't know, ever since that announcement, we have not even approached the Ministry of Culture or the government at large concerning this 9 million, because we don't even know exactly what are the plans. We just recently found out that whenever the government gives grants, even if the president said it, it has to be funneled through the Ministry of Culture, and there's a procedure for everything. So the bargain coming and dropping, we lap. People have to access grants, and then they come to the studio, decide which studio they want to record at, or the bigger ones decide which studio this person would record at, and that's how the thing is disseminated. It didn't come to us. We're not excited over, listen, Jeremy Sobers, Samuel Medas, Joey Too Cool, Joel Brown. We're not excited over $9 million. Just so you know, I'm just putting it out there, right? But there's a bakery to be had. The president also allocated $10 million, and there's nobody talking about this. He allocated $10 million for a Guyana night because Cricket Carnival is coming up. CPL Finals is coming to Guyana. There are games that are going to be played in Guyana in September, and he said that there's going to be a Guyana night, there's going to be a regional night, and there's going to be an international night. And he expressed that he wanted the Guyana night to be the biggest. He wanted Guyana to showcase and show up every other night. For it to be the biggest and to put Guyana's best on showcase. And said, I'm allocating $10 million to that. Nobody's talking about that. Now, this is where we rock back and I start panic. And this is what I really want to talk about. Because the president also said that I'm giving y'all $10 million to pull this off. Again, $10 million to pull off a concert is little. It might sound a lot to you guys, but for us who are in music, when you talk about advertisement, when you talk about planning, stage, gears, song, lights, all of them things, when it finally comes together, it's far more than $10,000 to pull off a mega show at the stadium. Right? So, we're not excited yet. And then he says, if you guys get 15,000 people in the studio, again, you guys must go and find this video and realize it's far bigger than what is being peddled. It's good to know for yourself. He said, if you guys get 15,000 people, perhaps, in the studio, and you charge $1,000 entrance, then that is $15 million in revenue that the government does not want. That goes to you. That is what he said. I start panicking. And this is where I'm going to move away from the $9 million and show y'all how sometimes you can beg and you could plead for something for so long, and quarrel over it not being there, that when it actually comes or when the issue is being addressed, you don't realize that the issue is being addressed. We've been crying out for government involvement for years. We've been crying out for investments. We've been crying out that, the arts and the culture sector in Guyana is being ignored when there's so much can be done. And meanwhile, while we are fighting and crying over this, a man is providing the solution and saying, yo, take this $10 million. There's nobody else no private citizen ever say, hey, take this 10 million, y'all go throw on a Guyana show down there. I'm panicking. And I talking to Calvin. And I saying, Dan, this is pressure. Because there is no way in Guyana right now that we can say that we have a body, we have a representation, we have a fraternity, we have a group, we have an organization that can say, instead of fighting these street banners that sitting in a meeting, that they didn't go into the meeting looking for any money or any handouts like this. But to come to we or even the government and say, hey, bam, we there right down there. We want to be a part of this. We don't have a body that says we have a list of artists that we can recommend for this Guyana show. We have a list of artists that y'all don't know about that are in the outlying regions of Guyana, like in Leguan and like in Letem, that are really good, that could showcase Guyana. We got a few ideas. And that is sad because we don't have no kind of organization. I'm panicking because I realize, Sammy, this is more than a one-person thing. This is everybody's thing. This is more than you. This is more than Joy Too Cool. This is more than Calvin. This is more than the dance company, the National Dance Company. This is far bigger than us, and we don't have an organization that can handle this. That can say, let's come and sit at the table and let's talk. And I realize how young we are. And when I talk about young, I don't mean age. I talk about experience. None of the bigger heads, not one of them called us. And a lot of things are going wrong. Not one of them, even if they felt like we were wrong. And I just explained what happened and how it played out. Wrong, I say, hey, y'all heard good? How y'all gonna tell people there's only 3 studios for us to tell them, nah, it didn't go down like that. And that there can be conversations to be had. Because the truth is, the big heads can't do it by themselves either. Just like the younger ones can't do it by themselves. There has to be the coming together of the older generation and the younger generation, because there's where the strength lies. And the truth is, you make decisions according to your strength. If you're old and you're tired, you're going to make tired decisions. But if you connect with the younger generation, then you can dream again. Because the strength that is needed to carry out the dreams is found in the younger generation. Let me sit down at the table. Let me talk this through. No, but the statuses flew left, right, and center, and it got really nasty and down in the dirt. And we made a decision that we're not going to respond to any one particular thing. We're not going to respond to any attack, any personal attack, whether it be on our Christianity, whether it be on us being pastors' children. Because whenever people go low, we have to go high. Because at the end of the day, whether who has what opinion of us, there are young people looking on at us and how we respond to this. And we have an opportunity to now set the precedent of how they respond to conflict, how they respond to issues like this. And we are still hoping that by us not responding and antagonizing the situation and not throwing back shade, that there is still room for conversations to be had. Pick up your phone. Call we. Because the more we bicker and the more we fight, somebody else going to come with an organized plan and say, bam. Don't worry about them. They fighting and abusing and cussing over there. Look, we got a proposal, eh? And maybe the food going to be taken out of our mouth. Joey addressed, we need music. We need subsidies. He wasn't even asking the president for total money. He said maybe, the government could help subsidize the cost. President said, oh, take $9 million. Calvin went up there. Calvin said, listen, we need airplay. Guyana needs to know about their artists. They need to know who we are. President said we will look into that, especially concerning radio play and stuff like that. We don't have an organization to represent the needs of the younger generation concerning saying, listen to me. We need policies saying that if you are going to bring a regional act to Guyana for a stage show or an international act to Guyana for a stage show, there has to be a particular percentage of local acts being represented on this show. We don't have a body saying that. People are arguing in the car now. We don't have award shows that builds healthy competitiveness in the industry. We don't have a body that says we will create an account, and in this account, whatever money we make from this, from that, from this venture, we putting it into account so that if we want to send somebody who doesn't have money to go represent Guyana at Carifesta or somewhere or some show and send them, that we have money in here that we could give them and say, go and represent your country and do well. Carry the band with you. We don't have an organization in Guyana that will make the embassy recognize Guyanese artists as artists and give us P visas, performance visas. There are very few people in Guyana that have performance visas. This is the conversations we're not having. We do not have much publishing houses in Guyana. Sammy was publishing houses. You don't even understand. We talking about copyright. And the people who are talking about copyright don't understand that copyright does not give you money. Half the people who are peddling, including me in the earlies about copyright, don't understand and did not understand that copyright does not give you money. All copywriting does is protect your music against people thieving it. That's all it does. Publishing is what gives you the money, and we need publishing houses here. Your music could be copyrighted out of Guyana and still have publishing companies inside of Guyana here. But we're not talking about that. We're talking about 9 million and peddling the three past the sun, represented their own interests, and they only want the money, and they only want it for 3 studios, and they say there's only 3 studios in Guyana. That's not the issue. We're young. We can't do this on our own. Can we meet at the table? But the funny thing is that if we're talking about meeting at the table, a lot of people have muddied their water so much that if their names are called at the table, some people would never come to the table because they have issues with people and what they've done in the past, the bigger ones. So we are stuck. So what we gonna do? What we gonna do really? Hold a second for me. 1 second. Because I want to see if I could bring on Joel. Yeah. That all it took was a conversation. She'd be throwing left, right, and center. And to be honest, it's laughable. It's laughable. When you want respect, you have to give respect. There's certain bigger ones, there's certain legends in this country, and they know themselves too because they have picked up their phones at different times and different hours of the day and call my phone anytime. It doesn't matter if I drive in. If I see them calling me, I will pick up my phone and I will answer them because that is the respect I have for them. And the one thing that I said at the meeting when I did take the mic is, one, we have to understand that this is bigger than us. If we're going to move forward, it's there in the video. If we're going to move forward, every artist needs to realize that this is bigger than any individual career. I said it. And those who are around us know that, come on, man, we want thief money from Guyana, bro. Some of us are in this thing because we love Guyana so bad and we want to see other artists travel. We want to see other artists headlining shows. We want to see us travel and bring other artists that will open up for us. We have to stop fighting, man. All the lives being done, all the shades being thrown. Come on, have a conversation. Come on, have a conversation. And if you feel that we are too young to have the conversation, then that is fine also. Pick your phone up, because every one of the people who are saying what they're saying have access to the Ministry of Culture and even higher. Pick up your phone, jump over us and call them and say, what nonsense was that? Yeah, I'm bringing on Joel. What nonsense was that? We have had multiple... Listen, this thing started a couple days, probably a day. And I understand how it happened and why we're being targeted, because in the article that was published, first of all, Sammy faces at the front of the article in a hot yellow hoodie. And inside of it is a picture with me, Calvin, Joel, somebody else, and the president. We're just standing up having a conversation. We were grateful for the access and didn't know that they would turn into this. And it's not really about the 9 million people. I could tell you that if people would be real, they would tell you that it's really not about the 9 million. It's really not about the 3 studios. Anybody could have picked up their phone and have a conversation and say, well, it was stupid to see our talk there. And we would tell them, nah, it ain't go down like that. If we had our own way, and there is still space for that conversations to be had. Because I am good at reggae music, Joey is good at crossover music and them stuff. Ain't no one of we gonna try to go and produce a calypso song. Somebody else from some other studio got to go, that versed in calypso, got to go and produce that. Because we can't do it. We can do it together. I don't have to hope you hear my heart on it, because at the end of the day, people will believe what they want to believe according to what agenda they want to push. But for those of you who didn't know and just see it pushing about the place, just know that the president said that there'd be a Guyana night, and people are working assiduously as we speak right now to get this Guyana night off the ground. I hope that when it comes to fruition, that you guys go and buy your ticket and come to see Guyana at its best in September coming. We only got a couple, and while there's a 12-month span for us to get this, we still got 2 months to plan the biggest Guyana concert ever that's happening in September. So, I mean, and I can understand. Let me see what Joey there, man. Where's Joey? Somebody talk Joel Brown. Like, come on. Yeah. I can read through. Well, I definitely won't be answering any of the comments, especially any of the negative comments and stuff like that. I told you what it was. Go to the Department of Public Information page, scroll down, you will see when the president met with us. Watch it from the beginning to end, and you will get some kind of context. I mean, you can't hear everything that's being said in the room because there was only one mic, but it's there. So don't just use the clip. Just listen to the whole thing and see what. Oh, people tagging Joel Brown. I don't know if he can come on. I'm waiting because I wanted. Wow. Really, Jason? Yeah, man. Yeah, million's not a lot of money. There's a lot of big things. The government is pushing money to help develop the music industry. If I were you, I would start making calls and mobilizing and said, we need a body, we need a collective, we need an organization, we need a fraternity where we can meet as equals at the table and put something together so we could engage. The private can engage the public. The private can engage the government and say, we want to do this. We want to be a part of this. Do you want to be a part of this? What do you want to do? And in the space of like 2-3 years, Ghana could be exporting musicians and exporting artists all about the place. But we can't be messy about it. Let's not be messy about it. God bless y'all. I'm coming off the live now because I ain't see Joel. I don't know where Joel there. He come. Oh, sending the invite. Joey's coming on.
What's up, bro? What's good? What's good? What's good? Sorry, you're driving. Yeah, man. Yeah,
Bro,
man. Yeah,
you
what's
need
up?
digital internet. That's the first thing. But how you doing?
I good, man. I good. I good. Just I've been so happy that we had a chance to have a conversation. I think that has never been had before. Even though it wasn't necessarily planned, I was happy that we were able to have that conversation and open doors for greater things. And I like the fact that the message is all inclusive for everybody, even with this whole one Guyana idea about having young people bring ideas to the forefront and be a part of promoting Guyana. I think is a very big thing. And even though there might be some distractions, along the way, we see the vision, and we know the vision is to create opportunity for everybody. So, we want to be able to include everybody from all walks of life. It's not about Samuel Medas or me or anybody. It's about everybody being involved in as a part of promoting Guyana to the world. Because people are going to only see what we show them. or what we let them see. So I feel there's a lot of things that we probably hearing back and forth. We don't want to really get into that because I don't want to distract from the fact that something great was initiated.
Great, great, great,
And
great.
I never thought in my lifetime I would be able to have a conversation with a sitting president about a baby of mine, which is music. So now that we have that opportunity, we want to be able to stand and be organized in a manner where we can make representation for everybody who's going to be represented in terms of the for the arts, and do it in a manner that reflects a model that can be recreated throughout the years, as opposed to just us just going there and then after we leave the meeting nothing happens. It should be something that could continue and even grow and get bigger. And that's one of the reasons why I was happy when we had the conversation about intellectual property and copyright and all these things, because these are things that we don't really hear about, we don't talk about, and these are very key when it comes to the arts in general. So I'm happy about this opportunity. I know great things are going to happen, and everybody's going to be able to see the fruits of the great things that are going to happen for Guyana.
Yeah,
So big up yourself, man. And I think this whole opportunity, where young people are going to be included in a lot of the arts and so on, is going to create a level of cohesion among ourselves, where we understand that we have a say. The fact that we're able to get the ear of the president, even though it wasn't planned for that, because again, like for those who don't know, the meeting was because he was happy with production that he heard on a national event, and we were able to go and sit and listen to him be happy about what we're doing. So that means what we're doing is being noticed, and now we need to come together unified and be able to present more of this, but include more people now who have more diverse skills and arts and talents to present to the nation. So I think it's a big deal. Yeah, man.
yeah, man.
Mhm.
Thanks for hopping on live and giving your 2 cents.
Yeah, man.
You
No
know,
problem.
so there is that out there, and this what we are saying.
Mhm.
You be the judge of it, but more
Okay.
than that, it's not even to indicate ourselves that much,
Mhm.
but for you to understand that there's a much bigger thing at play. If you put
Right.
aside politics, you
Right.
understand that Guyana has an opportunity.
Yep.
Finally,
Mhm.
5 years ago, we did making a certain noise about oil. So oil is regularized now. Now we
Mhm.
understand that the very people in Guyana who put in Guyana and want to put Guyana on the map with culture, now have an opportunity because the
Definitely.
president gave him money,
Mhm.
and it's not
Yeah.
just about us. It's about
Right.
everybody.
And like
And
Mr.
like I told
President,
them, Joel,
yeah, he was saying as well. He said, make sure you spread this to people outside of this room. You understand where I'm coming
yeah,
from? Because if you look at every culture event that we've had recently, also, there has been a push to make sure that it is diverse in nature. Like we don't just see the same faces all the time. We want to have a variety where you see representation from each ethnic group is there. So I'm happy for us to be having this conversation as young men who love music from the bottom of we have. We we would do this for free all, because we just love it. We just love it that much. And if people understand, understand that and understand that we want to share the same kind of opportunity to everybody, they would see that it can only benefit us in the long run.
yeah, man.
Yeah. Somebody say
Big up.
Calvin.
Wait, the tagging Calvin. I
Yeah.
listen. Calvin probably sleeping now.
Yeah, Calvin is work late. Yeah, I don't think yeah, Calvin he'd be up right till late at night at least. He's a night person. Yeah. Sure proud of
All
you.
right,
Thank
bless,
you
bro.
very much of you. Yeah, my blessings.
Yeah, yeah, man. People, have a great day. God bless y'all. Pray for Guyana. Pray for the future of Guyana. Pray for your favorite artists, um, your younger artists and your older artists and producers and people in the music industry in Guyana and out of Guyana. You know that we could come together and something beautiful can happen and come out of this. Peace.